because I have 2 daughters,
Mm.
and girls tend to lose their interest in science relatively young.
Yeah.
So I'm doing everything and anything to not indoctrinate them into science, so to speak, but to keep them interested, to keep them into it. Like, I don't want them to be scientists. I just want them to understand science.
Yeah, I feel that, I feel the same way. I don't think everybody needs to become a scientist, but we should, as a society, all be scientifically literate. I mean, there's a basic level of literacy that I think we all need to maintain, and we're not there right now. And there's a lot of forces at work that are trying to keep us from being there. But, like, you're right. I used to be kind of more militant, too. I was very firm in my non-belief, and I still, to this day, really respect and admire and love authors like Richard Dawkins and Chris Hitchens and Sam Harris, the big atheist authors, and I've learned so much from them. But I quickly realized that, and their approaches I think are valid too, but I quickly realized that as a science communicator specifically, the worst way to help spread scientific literacy and rationality and kind of critical thinking skills is to be like, you're stupid because you believe in God, and I'm better than you because I don't, like, and that's how it comes across when you have that kind of new atheist mentality, that more kind of militant atheist mentality. And it's like, regardless of how firmly I believe or don't believe something, or regardless of how much I scoff at other things privately, I do think it's really important publicly to be as respectful as possible up to a point. I do have a problem, though, with the fact that our society deems it somehow necessary that, like, religion is untouchable. You know what I mean? That, like, oh, I'm not allowed to have any opinions. I'm not allowed to push back at all because it's, like, somehow just inappropriate or rude to question or to push back on anything. It's like, that's crazy. You don't feel that way about anything else. If somebody has a specific political belief, if somebody, prefers one, sports team over another, and you question that and you push back, people are like, it can get heated, but it's expected. It's intellectual discourse. It's what, like, institutions of higher learning are supposed to be all about. Yet somehow, if you question somebody's religion, it's like an attack on their person. It's like the worst thing that you can do. It's out of the bounds of polite society. And I disagree with that really strongly. But it's also not my place to, like, ridicule individuals. And I think that that's where there's a breakdown sometimes. It's very easy for us to spout off and say, this is dumb, this is stupid. How could anybody believe in the talking snake and the burning bush and these childlike stories? But it's very hard sometimes to separate. There's, like, a kind of a synecdoche there, like a part for the whole, whole for the part. So it's hard to separate somebody's beliefs from themselves, because in many ways it is kind of the core, I think, of who you identify as. And so if I ridicule somebody's beliefs to their face, it's going to feel like I'm ridiculing them. And then if I'm trying to communicate science in any sort of an effective way, the worst way to, like, get through to somebody is to like, make fun of them. It's just not an appropriate approach. Like, aside from how immoral it is, aside from how rude it is, and how kind of, I think, non-humanitarian it is, which is really the image that most atheists are all about, is having a very humanitarian atheist. It's like, we do things not because we are afraid of eternal damnation, but because out of the goodness of our hearts, we think that we should be doing good works and service. And so I don't want my speech to be reflective, to not be reflective of who I am as a person. It's hard. Don't get me wrong. Anybody who's watching this who's an atheist knows that they've said things that disrespected people before. It's hard, but you don't want to stoop to the level of the religious right. And if they're, they're going to shovel shit on atheists and name call and things like that, I don't want to do the same thing.